So a lot of you have heard the term box and wrap in regard to plumbing, especially when you're installing the foundation or the slab on grade in our case. But what is the electrical box, right? What's the electrical box walk with our design team and our client? How does that play a role? We're going to talk about that here in our Modern Sunset project as we just had that tour with our clients last week. So as you can see here, this is our electrical box walk, and this is a really important part of the process. What I love about our electricians, we're using Colonial Electric on this project. You can see here that they actually are going through and spending the time, right? This is a 4-gang box, and there's a lot of coordination when you think about electrical and automation, especially, whether you're working with Lutron, through Crestron or Control 4, Ketra lighting in some case on some of our projects. It's very integrated, all the lighting software and the lighting controls and the lighting system and the programming. And to understand, from a line voltage side, and then as well from a low voltage side, how we wire every switch in the house. Some of them will be traditional toggle switches or, flip switches, if you will. But some of them are completely automated Lutron switches, which can now be controlled from an iPhone, an iPad, any smartphone, any device, right, through that Crestron Control 4. But here's the most important part. How many times have we as builders wired the house, and then you come back, you do the walk, and the designer, the architect, the client says, well, can you add an outlet here? Can we move this one? Well, the issue at that point in the project is that you've already wired it, right? You've already roped the house, you've already wired it, and so now there's a major cost trying to move any outlet. So we do our box walk, and this is really important. So our clients that live out of state will schedule this very well in advance. And so Paul, who's our project manager on this project, reached out to our clients that are out of state. We scheduled this in advance for last week. So what that entails is that our electrical company will come out and they'll box the house. You can see here that they've installed outlet boxes. They have their levels, so everything's leveled. Anytime you're dealing with a 4-gang box, you can see they're putting in bracing. Here, because we just have a 2-gang, it's not as necessary, but you can see here that the way it's installed here into the 2x4 is going to be secure, especially with the drywall. And we'll come back and cripple some of these, which means cripple is really box around so that we have that support so you don't have outlets that are pushed in. But you can see here on the floor, this gives you a really good visual. Now, because we had the walk last week and our electricians are here today, you can see they've already installed the can lights here in the ceiling. But this is really important. Again, it's all labor, right? There's a lot of work in the ceiling to install all the cans, have them leveled. A lot of times we'll run like twine or jet line or something, to straight line the ceiling to make sure all those cans are dead center, which is a good technique. But before we do that, we'll label them on the floor. So we'll walk through and you can see here they're marked. And really, we have these different symbols here which match the electrical plan of the house. This would be a standard can. It's just a circle, standard can as you see above me. However, now, this one's a little different. This one has the circle, and you can see here the arrow. And really what this is identifying is that this is an art light or a can light that can be angled or spot the wall, right? It's a spotlight of the wall. And so what we're saying is that this is going to be angled this way to show a piece of art that'll be installed later. Same thing here. So in these 4 here, we have 2 standard cans, 2 art lights that are angled. Same here, of course, this is our bed wall, right? We have our bed wall looking out on this amazing view of the private spa. We have a double wall here for double insulation and sound. But again, you have these decorative art lights that now can be, they can showcase here on the headboard or the wall, as the electrical engineer required. We also have some outlets here, so you can see here we're identifying where some of these outlets are. And before we do any, furring out or we do any alterations to the masonry wall, we want to make sure we're showing where those outlets are, because this is per code. We do have everything installed per code plus any additional outlets for the furniture plan. So this is really important. So what we do is we come through, we box the house. It's pretty easy. We install the electrical boxes, all the outlets, put in all the appliance outlets. And by doing that, the clients quickly can say, hey, Brad, or the designer, I have a piece of furniture coming here. I may have an oversized chair. Let's move this box to this wall. It's really easy. We pop that off, install it right here. And now we haven't ran any wires, so we don't have any cost. So this is really a no cost to the client. It prevents so much pain and anguish for us as builders. And then one of the other benefits, especially as we come over to the kitchen, is you think about now that our outlets are installed, we can actually check that with the cabinet plan. So we'll have our cabinet company come out, and they'll go through before we rope the house and before we pull in the wire. And with the updated cabinet drawings that can now go into production because we have all the walls up, They can field measure, they can template and make sure that everything built in the field matches what they had originally designed via plan in the design book. Now they can check all of our openings. And this is really important because when you're dealing with frameless cabinetry, very high-end cabinetry, everything's fitted and flush, especially from the appliance. They're understanding our appliance selection early on in the process before we break ground. So in that way, the cabinets can be designed around the rough openings, and all of those rough openings have a very specific location for all the outlets and the water in the case of the refrigerator. The reason being is you push in this big sub-zero fridge, everything has to be in its exact place so that it pushes nice and flush against the wall. And so by doing this electrical walk, now we have everything located, even SD, right? Smoke detector. So our clients know smoke detector, and all of the outlet or all the ceiling lights are laid out on the floor. The client can say, yep, we're good to go. Ceiling fan in the master bedroom, that's the F with the circle. And so now you can see the bracket up there for the fan box. And this is also important too, because as you look through the lighting, we have to understand the decorative lighting. Sometimes our designers are picking fixtures that are over 100 pounds, especially in the dining room, over the dining table, or other parts of the house, maybe wall sconces. So if we identify all the wall sconces, we know where all the heavy light fixtures are going, we can brace for those. Sometimes this fan box may not be enough, and so we'll have to install 2x4s or cripple with maybe a pancake box that gives it that extra support. But by laying this out, we have everything tied up. The clients can come in, they can sign off, our designer signs off, architect, and now we can release our electricians to move forward.